Insight Sparks, it's an innovative social venture that helps children interact better with their peers in diverse communities.
When I first heard about Insight Sparks, I thought it sounded like a really interesting project. It was about discrimination and understanding different groups of people and realising that you have things in common with people that you didn't think that you had before, and so that children will integrate better and get to know each other a bit better.
It helps them accept the other, overcome stigma, and become stronger and more resilient in their emotional and social life.
And so we want to bring innovation, technology, research and psychology together. We have multicultural societies, and it creates a lot of tension and a lot of challenges between groups. And we also see increasing gaps in the tools that educators have to deal and cope with these challenges.
So the first session engaged them using computers, where they were forest people and mountain people, and they were really hooked into the whole process. Then that went into real life, so they began to become the forest people and the mountain people themselves. One particular game they really enjoyed, where there was an enormous circle in the middle of the floor, and they could step into that group if they had certain things in common with each other. So they might, if they were all the oldest sibling, or if they had a musical instrument that they played, and they began to find that they had differences and similarities with different people. So they had things in common with those that they didn't think they had.
So the process is very, very simple. We take our digital game as a very fun and engaging environment, and we use it to work with kids and teach them indirectly how to use the skills needed for a better acceptance of the other, first in the gamified environment, and then in the real life, first with their peers, the classmates, and then with others that they're not familiar with.
At the end, they discussed what it was like to be part of a group and how important it is to feel like they belong to a group. They learnt a lot about each other because they were listening to the likes and dislikes of children who they didn't normally work with. Even the ones sitting next to each other in class said, "Oh, I didn't know we had that in common." And then they were able to chat and be more friendly to each other.
That began to give them a realisation that there were more people they could play with in their friendship group than they thought they could before. And since then we've seen changes in their behaviour. So they are now more transient in their friendship groups. They'll go and play with different children. And also in class, we mix them up a lot more in the afternoons, and whereas before they'd make a fuss about who they were sitting next to, now they just go and accept who it is and get on with their work and be happy.
Our own research evaluating children that we've worked with also shows us that there is a shift and an improvement in the way that children behave and think.
The children have been talking about the project quite a lot since we finished. They've been asking when you're going to come in next, and so they could carry on, because they've really enjoyed the games, and I think they've really enjoyed the learning that happened without them, through osmosis really, without them realising that they were actually learning to accept each other and to be, a class community rather than sort of individuals. So this week it's been particularly interesting because we've been looking at SRE, which is Sex and Relationships Education, and we've been looking at different types of families, and the children have been really accepting of all different types of families, so those with the same gender, those with the different makeup, people with stepchildren, all different kinds, and they've just accepted families as they are and have noticed the similarities amongst those families, like they love and care for the children. It doesn't matter who you are, you can still, families come in all shapes and sizes, and that's perfectly fine, and they've accepted that really easily.
Next is scaling, is bringing the program to different parts of the world and different communities, and trying really to make the most out of these programs and to reach as many children as we can, so that we can help different communities overcome differences and be more integrated.